a nuclear-armed Iran. None of that will come up. Here with reaction, Fox News political analyst Reince Priebus, Fox and Friends weekend co-host Charlie Hurt. Reince, start with you. You know, this is what it is. However, you know, for people that may think this is an anomaly, it's not. And as evidenced by 250 of these DSA people have been elected since 2019. We have over 40 more of them on the ballot this year alone. It's not just El Sayed. There are a lot of these people. Mamdani did win in New York. Gavin Newsom has ruined California. I just don't know if people understand how urgent this moment of history is.
It's urgent, and that was a great intro monologue. It's not just rage politics anymore. It's not a big tent. It's a circus tent, and it's sick. And at the center of this, in the beginning of your monologue, is this Piker character. And the crazy part about it is in the center ring of this circus, and the Democrat candidates are like grasping for his endorsement. And when your influencer is mocking Charlie Kirk's death, he's talking about violence to American Jews. And what is Sayed's response? Well, he doesn't really speak for our campaign. That's not leadership. That is a guy who, to your point, this is a person who is terrified of his base. These DSA people are not just knocking on the door. They're in the House. They've got the keys. And the Democrats are sitting around asking whether they can use the bathroom. And here's why. CBS did a poll, and this captures the whole problem in a nutshell, why they're there. Why aren't they getting rid of these people? Because when they were asked, Democrats, do you have a positive view of socialism? 58% said yes. When they were asked, do you have a positive view of capitalism? 32 said yes. But when you asked all Americans whether they had what they thought of socialists, they said only 27% had good ideas. And they said 51% of the people said socialists don't have good ideas. So the problem is you've got a Democrat base that is in love with these socialists, but Americans don't like them and don't believe in the things that they're talking about. So this really captures the problem here. They actually do. They are a majority in the Democrat Party. That's their issue. That's why they can't get rid of these people.
All right, Charlie, you look at this. I mean, it's interesting to watch Carville, for example. I used to debate him. Often Tim Russell would moderate the debates. You know, he vacillates between hating the DSA and then capitulating to him. But what he really supports is the new AOC strategy, which is let's just lie about who we are. Oh, that was woke 1.0 crazy. No, that is her realizing the polls are showing that if they try to sell these crazy ideas, it won't work. So we'll hide who we really are. We'll lie to the American people. Then we'll get elected, get power, and then we'll implement these policies. I don't think they've changed their heart at all. But she's now the leading candidate for 2028 for president for the Democrats.
Yeah, and of course, the reason that she's selling those supporters that have supported her so long off is because she she's gotten a whiff of power, and she's willing to do whatever it takes in order to fully get control because she is in love with power. She's not actually in love with anything else but just power, and that's the problem with all of them. James Carville, the problem with him is, you know, there isn't a more important leader in the Democrat Party for the past several decades since Bill Clinton was president than James Carville and people like him. And they're the ones who have allowed their party to get taken over by these lunatics. And these lunatics are fully in charge of the party. And I think you're exactly right. This is an opportunity to stop them in their tracks. And we have to do that in November. But I thought it was really interesting to sit there and listen to El Sayed just now talk about how he wants to get money out of politics, yet he wants what he calls Medicare for all, which is a wild euphemism for government-run socialized medicine. So he actually wants to inject trillions and trillions more money into politics to run socialized, single-payer, government-run medicine, which we know does not work. And then not only does the guy believe that, when he's asked about whether he believes in gender mutilation of teenage boys and girls, he compares castrating a child to circumcision. To me, that is the big headline of that interview. The fact that he compares the castration of little boys in government-run medicine to circumcision, that tells you all you need to know about what a dangerous lunatic he is and how much the designs they have on putting trillions of dollars more into politics, into the federal government to control every aspect of our lives.
All right, Charlie Hurt, thank you, and Reince Priebus, thank you. All right, now with more what will be the most important midterm election in our lifetime. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.